to think. Oh, the door closes, starts to end up on the brink. I tried so hard, but all these scars, they cut so deep I bleed. I fell so fast from heaven, it's like someone clipped my wings. Now I'm falling, and I can't see the ground. Can we stop this gravity? It keeps bringing me down. I can't breathe and I don't wanna die. Can we stop this gravity? 'Cause I don't wanna say goodbye. I forgive the pain you gave to me so long ago. Sleepless nights I laid awake just begging to let go. I almost got to suicidal thoughts, but you stepped in. An angel sent from heaven showed me how to live again. Now I'm falling, and I can't see the ground. Can we stop this gravity? It keeps bringing me down. I can't breathe and I don't wanna die. Can we stop this gravity? 'Cause I don't wanna say goodbye. My love, I'm gone. I need to be strong. The darkness had tried to swallow me. Some days I fall, but I hear your call. I pray I don't hit the ground. Gravity. get you one more time. I really wanna cross the line. I do it all before I die. I wanna get it on tonight. I wanna get you one more time. I really wanna cross the line. I wanna get you one more time, one more time, one more time, one more time. I want it one more time. I really need to make it right. Energy, I overdose. Cause I'm ready to reload. I need it one more time. But baby, then again twice. But I don't know if I'm ready to let go. I'm gonna have you one more time. I'm gonna hit it one more night with you. With you. I am committed cause I know it's you I want. Hope I never see you go home. Oh, come along. I'm gonna have you one more time. I'm gonna have you one more night. I wanna get you one more time. I really wanna cross the line. I do it all before I die. I wanna get it on tonight. I wanna get you one more time. I really wanna cross the line. I wanna get you one more time, one more time, one more time, one more time. Ooh, this time I wanna take it slow. I don't need my phone. I know how to picture in my mind the nights with you. I'm ready to enjoy the ride. I don't wanna die, but I could die in your arms. Cause I don't need to live forever. Cause I don't. I wanna get you one more time. I really wanna cross the line. I do it all before I die. I wanna get it on tonight. I wanna get you one more time. I really wanna cross the line. I wanna get you one more time, one more time, one more time, one more time. And every way you get me started off fine, now then I'm going deep in oblivion. I'll be right back here to see you just one more time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the IEL Season 5 Division Draws. I am Chop Chop 02, your host this evening with Random Chicken.
Hello. I also just strolled into this room here to draw the divisions for the next season, and yeah, Chop. I think this is maybe the most exciting thing for a season next to the finals. Getting to know
This
your
is
opponents.
this is huge. This is a big moment because we have changed the system a little bit. We've gone from 4 divisions to 2 divisions, which doubles the size of the divisions. You're going to be playing each team once, so your division itself, you're not going to be playing the same people twice anymore. You're only going to be playing them once, and whoever is in your division, whoever's in the other division, you could possibly play them in the single cross-conference games that will happen mid-season as well. So don't count yourself too lucky if somebody is in the other division because you may still get to play them.
No, yeah, you're exactly right on that. So yeah, change of the league system. I think everybody already knows that from the announcements we have put out. But yeah, today's the day. Everybody's gonna know who they are up against to battle it out for those playoff streams. Now we can already see a lot of hype already in the chat. a lot of people already here watching this. So yeah, Chop, let's talk the viewers a bit through the night. What's gonna happen? So do we all know what we are looking forward to?
So we're going to start off with the Prospect division. We're going to move over to Challenger and then finally Master. We're going to be spinning the wheel as Danny famously did last season. We're going to spin the wheel, so it's a little bit random. The wheel is no longer quite so full. The wheel has, I believe, 4 or 8 teams on.
4.
4 teams. So, yeah, it's a lot seeded. The teams in these the 4 teams, sorry, in this wheel are pretty balanced, and they should be equal according to Roxen Mutz's discretion, at the very least. So it should be a lot more balanced this season in the divisions, with a bit of randomness to help us out.
Yeah, like you said, we put the teams into groups of 4 according to what we think is gonna be like good matchups, and we're gonna split them out over the division. So all the divisions have some potential top runners, a lot of average teams, and some teams that most likely are going to struggle a bit because they are having a tough preseason.
Yeah,
So,
there has been a lot of scrims going on preseason currently, especially in Prospect. More than anything, we have seen scrims going on so often, and you see teams. I think it's Built by Us, AC, ASN. These teams have been scrimming non-stop, basically, pretty much every day. They found themselves a scrim trying to gather information on who their best opponents are, and we can definitely denounce that Built by Us and AC in Prospect, at the very least, are these 2 giant teams possibly going for the title amongst other people. But so far, we know that these 2 are very strong and really going for that title at the very least.
yeah, I think you're exactly right on that. And as you said, we're going to split the teams into 2 divisions. And yeah, no Danny. I see a lot of people in the chat talking about where is Danny? He's not going to be here today, but we are going to try our best to make it just as nice and make the season a good one with the startup here.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll get into it in just a moment. It's quite exciting this because we R5. In fact, my own team is in the I think pool 1. Do you know where Team Berserkers is, Chicken?
Well, it's the first wheel we're going to look at, so my team is going to be might potentially be the first one that's getting drawn into a division. So yeah, that's for me. It's also very exciting. I can draw my own team and spin the wheel for us 4. And yeah, I think your team is in the last wheel even.
Yeah, it is.
Chop,
It's
so you
going to be quite the anticipation. And also, it's good to mention we're not doing it top to bottom or bottom to last. It's more of a bit of a random order. So you'll have to stick around just to see where you are if you're not too sure which group you're in. But we do know the top seed will be the last one, and number 5 is the first one, which we're about to do. The wheel is spinning, and we'll see who it is in this first division. And I believe that is ASN Esports. ASN, again, I mentioned them earlier, being one of those teams that's scrimming quite a lot. Ace's team, in fact, is the first one drawn. What are your thoughts on that, Chicken?
Well, thoughts on that? As you said, Aces is on that team, so they are pretty much very dangerous mechanically. I think the rest of their roster is also very good, and yeah, they are potentially a very dangerous team there. Yeah, so they are gonna moving into the red division or the green. Sorry, green. As you can now see in the stream, there is a green bar underneath the ASN. We're gonna fill it in as we go, so everybody can keep track of the divisions.
Yeah, quite exciting. We'll see who is in, I believe, the other division is this going to be?
Yeah.
All right, so who is the people that are unlikely to play? It's your team, Team
Right.
Berserkers, Chicken. You
It's
don't
Team
have to suffer
Berserkers.
playing ASN.
No aces before the end of the playoffs. So yeah, my team. Yeah, what can I tell about it? It's a pretty much media full team. We have me, Viking, Arnie, and Diggin. And yeah, maybe some people are thinking, Arnie, isn't that the guy that just left your team last season? And yes, that is one, and he's back again to play with us.
Arnie did not leave my team, thank you very much. He joined. He was the super sub that took a couple games off of who was it? I think it was Insanity, in fact, who were one of the biggest names in Prospect last season, who unfortunately won't be here, although they have kind of rebranded under a new GM, Clairvoyant, who will see what division they're in. But anyway, you're not gonna suffer with playing ASM probably. You'd have to deal with Ace's incredible mechanics, which we saw in the combines early in the season.
Maybe in the cross conference or in the playoffs, you never know. And yeah, I think Doom is already like itching his fingers to spin the wheel yet again.
Spin that wheel! Oh, and
It's gonna be hit or miss.
Hit or miss. Oh, so I believe that's going to be with playing with the ASN then, aren't they?
Yeah, they're gonna be playing with ASN there, so yeah, they need to watch out for them. And
the
yeah, hit
boys
or
at
miss.
Fluffles.
Yeah, a new franchise. So or just a rebranded franchise job. If you could tell me a bit for that.
I believe it's a new franchise, but Fluffles is a returning player. I think he became a GM this season newly, but he is a returning player. People should know him from, I believe he was on Zero last season, if I'm not mistaken. Or he was on some team that was very big. No, Built by Us, that's it. He was on Built by Us last season, so he was a huge player. No, that's Sunderlad. Who am I thinking? No, it is Zero. Yeah, I'm right.
Yeah.
That's your fault,
Chop,
chicken.
I'm getting a lot of questions about the league names, so maybe we should tell the viewers.
The division names, yeah.
Division
So
names.
if you, I'll get corrected if I'm wrong here by Doom behind the camera. I believe green is Mew, and red is it'll be Zeta or Omega. It'll be Omega, I think. The division names for prospects. So you're either Mew or Omega. As I said, green is Mew and red is Omega. So yeah, that's the division names.
Yeah. So yeah, that means that Primal is going to be in Omega there. It's the returning name there. Got far into last season. Yeah, they're very dangerous, so gotta watch out for them always. So yeah, I think we are ready to move on to the next wheel then, Chop.
Yeah, division pool number 4. Got some big names here. We'll spin that wheel. Will it be Puncture? Or I can't quite tell who the other ones on there are quite just yet. We'll find out who it is. And it's going to be Team Chaos, the returning franchise from Season 3, replacing... they replaced Rocket Core, who pulled out last minute. This is Rox's team in Season 3, who rebranded to Deja Vu. But they are in fact returning as Team Chaos. So 2 separate franchises, Deja Vu and Team Chaos now, but they are currently returning with a brand new prospects roster just coming out. And they look pretty strong. They do look like quite the foe. And which division are they going to be in? They're going to be in Mew, I believe, right?
Yeah, they're going to be in the Mew division. And yeah, like a new roster, bit chaotic in the start, but we'll see what they can do. And yeah, let's go to the next spin. There, Doom. Spin it for us.
And the one in Omega, which you will be playing yourself, Chicken, will be Prophecy, returning franchise yet again, Stocko's own franchise, who are looking pretty good actually at the moment. Do you know who's on their roster?
Yeah, true. And yeah, me and Stocko have some kind of rivalry going on with the caster one who won that he unfortunately won. So I'm really looking forward to beating Stocko in the league play.
Stocko and Thuns being one of my players from last season, and Ollie, a very strong main roster. I'm excited to see what they do, but let's see who's going to be next. Will it be Puncture? Or I can't quite tell what the other team was there.
Shadow.
Shadow Esports. No, it's
Ooh, and it's
Ooh,
just
that
gonna
is
be
very
Puncture
close.
there.
Just about Puncture are going to be playing in the Mew division, a very strong team who I have scrimmed myself, in fact, and they are looking menacing. They are a really strong team. I would put my bets on them making playoffs, to be honest. So anybody in the Mew division should be frightened of Puncture.
Okay. And that means Shadow, one of the longest franchises there in the league, going to the Omega there. So yeah, that's gonna be a returning matchup for me as well, personally. So yeah, let's hope they have a bit of a better run than they had last season.
Yeah, Shadow, a very strong roster with Mutz and I believe they have Mutz and Eagle and Axiom as their main roster, which is a really good team. Eagle playing in Warlocks in Season 3, I remember, and Mutz still being in Shadow in Season 3 as well. So two rival team players coming together to form Shadow this season with Axiom joining them. Looks like a pretty strong team, to be honest.
Yeah, we're now gonna have Division Draw 6 with Nudes Esports, the Squids, No Hope, and
Austrian Force.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward to read, but
Some people on the weaker end, possibly DSN wise, for their main roster, but definitely nobody
what a
to
close
look
run.
over the shoulder of. Newts
Another
coming in
really
from
close
the Mew
spin
division.
there for Nudes for the Moo division. So yeah,
Newts are a new franchise as well. Coming in, I believe they're Bubbles' franchise, so brand new to the league. But let's see who is going to be on the other side of the division. Let's get on with it and spin the wheel.
rolling someone for Omega again. It's gonna be the Austrian Force there.
A pretty long-standing franchise and one that's a pretty large org outside of us at the IAL.
Yeah,
They are the Austrian team.
Yeah, I got to say, last season they also had a bit of a disappointing run. So hoping for them they can have a bit of a better run as well in this season. So yeah, like I said, the Austrian team there, and now there are only two teams left here: the Squids and No Hope. So Doom, spin that wheel for us, please.
Who's going to be joining amongst the likes of Newts, Puncture, Team Chaos, and ASN? It's going to be the Squids are going to join them. Squids, Dalex's franchise, previously known as Shamrock, who in fact won the Season 3 Prospect League, formerly known as the Pro League. So these guys, the franchise has had some experience in the bottom league, winning it, in fact. So definitely, despite them being in this pool, do not count them out just yet.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that means that No Hope is going to be in the Omega division again. So yeah, another wheel done already. So we're at 3 of 8 now, and yeah, that means we are almost at halfway point for the Prospect League. Divisions are getting a bit filled in, so potential thoughts can be shown into chat. If anybody has a question about something, feel free to ask, and we'll try to answer them as soon as possible. So yeah, next wheel is going to be the third seed there. It's going to be Eidolon, E-Nightmare, Rocket League Ireland, and Deja Vu.
Some pretty big names here. We are going now more on the better team pools as in terms of main roster DSN is how these are determined. So some big names here, some new ones and old ones. Definitely people to look out for. So you don't want any of these guys in your division. So let's see if they will be and spin that wheel to join the likes of Hit and Miss, the Squids, ASN, and all that. We have E-Nightmare, a famously returning franchise who have had two pretty poor seasons in the past in the Prospect League, but looking pretty scary these days.
Yeah, they're going to be a nightmare maybe this season yet again. So
They
we will
are
see that.
a terrifying franchise for some people. Shadow, who we mentioned earlier, having lost to these guys in a scrim before, Matt Bowfinger, Hooded Prawn, and Crumpets, making up the main roster. These guys, I believe, had played in the Prospect League before together, so a lot of chemistry coming in here from this roster, knowing how to play together, and so should be able to calculate, should be able to rotate very well, and they can concentrate more on the mechanics and getting these plays perfect, which is huge in the Prospect League. If you already have that chemistry down, don't have to waste time with getting it, and you can just go straight for the big plays.
That's true. And with that, we're gonna go back over to the red Omega division again. So Doom, spin the wheel.
The anticipation is killing us all. Who will it be? Hill Island, the master team winners of last season, and in fact, the GM Dave Forehead being the GM of the season last season, you know this team is going to be scary without even knowing the roster.
Yeah, it is in fact a team with only Irish people, so they are a bit hampered on who they can pick for that team. But as a community, they stand out in the league, and they are, at least with their chemistry, I think a force to be reckoned with. So yeah, they're going to be joining the Mega Division with all the other red teams you can see on the left side of the stream view. So yeah, we can now again go ahead and spin the wheel.
You need some more emphasis on the spin the wheel, chicken. Put as much power into it as you can. It's the wheel. It deserves some respect. Eidolon Esports. This is Francesco's team, a community figure almost. Francesco, creating this new org based from Six Man's But Worse server, creating Eidolon, and has got some powerful people in the Master and Challenger team, and even managing to pick up some people in the Prospect team that wasn't his initial plan. He doesn't really have much connection with these guys. He has some people that you might have heard of before, Sabaji being somebody a lot of people know, and then some new people like Joe and Kevin coming in, but with high ranks, those two joining Sabaji, I would be worried playing this team.
Yeah, and Deja Vu joining the Omega division there, or reaching playoffs last season. They need to keep going with that line and try to get that playoffs yet again in the new season there. So yeah, with that, we're moving on to the 7th seed there with Bad Karma on it, the franchise of our wheel turner Doom. So he might influence the wheel a bit now. So we will keep track of him there.
I think he might put himself in Team Berserker's division if he's going to influence it, get some easy opponents, you know, chicken?
Yeah, he might do it, but he didn't do it there.
Oh,
He's gonna
Bad
join the
Karma.
Moo there.
He's joining Mio amongst, as we've said before, some big names like E Nightmare and some new faces like ASN, Hit or Miss, who I think everybody should be afraid of. Puncture being the top dog in that division, I personally feel like, despite being one of the lower pools compared to some of the other people in there, I still believe that Puncture could possibly be one of the top dogs in that division.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. And Bad Karma winning the last season Prospect League, their team went up to Challenger, so it's going to be an entire new team. So it's hard to say where they're going to end up.
Anyway, let's continue and spin that wheel. You see, that's how you do it, chicken. You gotta do some
I'm not gonna.
emphasis in
I'm scared to say it now because you're listening.
You gotta follow in the footsteps of Danny, and following in the footsteps of Reflux will be Reflux back again for their 3rd season in IEL, with a pretty strong roster, I think, actually, despite being one of the lower pools. They don't look too bad.
No, and they're gonna joining the Omega division there. Most teams like Primal and No Hope and my own team Berserkers. So yeah, good matches there.
I think the important thing to remember about Reflux as well is they have one huge player prospect in the prospect division who's 1397 DSN. He is a pretty good 1400 player alongside two 1200s, which would be Drunken Panda and Freddy. But those two easily 1300 players and are that C2 the C2 players that you want alongside a C3 player like Prospect. So this team despite that low DSN, you've got somebody huge in this team that is influencing two lower people who have good potential. So this team definitely can improve along the season, which is what you might end up seeing.
Sure, let's spin the wheel yet again.
You're getting there. You're getting there. One day, you may follow in the footsteps of Danny, as I'm trying. But Crown
We're all
Gaming,
trying.
whew, what do you think about this?
Yeah, what do I think about this? Joining in a strong division there, but the Crown Gaming, need to start off strong. I think it's important for all the teams to just start off strong in the season. If you can get that momentum going, then you get the flow in the season. Then it's easier to win games after that. So for all the teams, I think getting that momentum in the first couple of games, starting off well, is so important to get far into the season.
Let's go ahead and I'll show you how it's done.
Yeah, but wait,
Spin
we need
that
to.
wheel!
Yeah, you just forgot something, Chop. You forgot 4Kings GG. They're joining the Omega there.
Oh, Four
Just
Kings
completely
GG, a new franchise, but they're somewhat of a new franchise. In fact, they're quite an interesting one. They used to be Lana in season 3, with GM Rice being a familiar face, even being in Shadow Prospect in season 4. Not a team to shy away from. So I think they could do quite well, in fact, with their past history.
Yeah, and now we have Moo there with Clairvoyant. Also a new franchise, I think.
Clairvoyant are Insanity rebranded with a new GM. They have
Mm.
Crazy instead of Cell being a big name, a board member of the past, in fact, and Crazy coming in, trying to take the legacy of Insanity, which is quite the feat to do, but Clairvoyant not looking too shabby compared to Insanity. They could be the ideal replacement that Cell would want.
Yeah, let's hope for the legacy of Cell that they do a good job there in the Moo division. And Doom, let's spin the wheel yet again.
Bit worse than last time, but we'll allow it. We'll shy it off. We'll allow it. Crossfade coming in, new team as well this season. We have a lot of old faces and not many new franchises. A lot of rebrands, but not many new franchises. So Crossfade being one of those new teams, Cruzy being a completely new face to the league, in fact, but their prospect team is far from new. They have Dingo, Tootin, and Deadeye as their main roster. Dingo and Tootin being two very famous faces here. Tootin being, in fact, the owner of the league. Dingo being a board member of the past, I believe, the old mod manager, and Deadeye. If you've seen him in combines, he was the standout player in the prospect combines, if you can remember. So 3 huge players that I think would almost certainly make playoffs and will be contending for that top 4 position.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, also having Tootin in your team means that everybody wants to beat you, so it might bite them back in the season. But Doom, you can go ahead and spin yet again.
Everybody does want to beat Tootin for sure. I know after losing to him in the playoffs in Season 3, knocking me out, and I would like my revenge against that if I can, but Vinktio is not going to get it in league play at the very least, going in the other division. This is Crusaders team, formerly known as Team Absolute, and if you remember, I believe they were the number 1 seed, or at the very least they were one of the biggest seeds, I think. Last season they were a force to be reckoned with, and they will not let that legacy die out.
It's true. And then we have Antis joining the Omega there. So I think we only have we have 2 wheels left on the 8 teams yet to be placed into the division there. So without further ado, let's get started on the next wheel there.
Let's spin wheel number 8. These are the bottom 4 teams in the main roster DSN. So these are the teams you might underestimate and could definitely bite you in the back. Royals coming in, being that up and down team from last season, really. They won some surprising games that nobody expected them to win and lost some games that nobody expected them to lose. So they're going to be aiming to get a bit more consistency this season and not lose those games that they really shouldn't be losing, but manage to actually win those games that they were doing before. We have some pretty good people in here actually, like Assassin Combat being a mid 1400, I should say, despite his low DSN, and that might be in part why they're so far down here, that they have players much better than their DSN might say they are. So definitely watch out for these, because if any last season's anything to predict for these teams, they could win some surprising games, and you want to watch out for that.
Yeah, and that's all those lower bit, maybe struggling teams a bit. You need to watch out for them because they can just come out with a good day, just win that game, and maybe even decide who's going to reach playoffs, even if they are not far up. So we need to watch out for them as well. But without further ado, Doom, let's get started on another spin there.
Spin that wheel, Doom. Who have we got this time? We have Sonic Wave, similar to Nightmare. Really, they have been around for the past 3 seasons. I think this is their 3rd season, I believe. I think I might be wrong about that, but I think I got it right. Hopefully, Sonic Wave not having the best performance in Prospect these past few seasons, and are looking to change that with their knowledge of the league now after being around for so long. These guys could be quite scary. Some people like Alpha and Vertane being their 1300s, looking to influence really Lucy Ajax as a 1200, a high 1200 really, and Redify also a high 1200. They're a 4-man roster, so they're not going to have any too shabby games if they play their sub. They shouldn't have any surprising losses, and they're going to be fairly consistent, I'd imagine, throughout the league, and nobody to overlook as well.
And I got to say something real quick though, Chop, because I think we broke through something because we have reached 106 viewers at the moment. So that is a lot of viewers there. We were watching us spinning the wheel round and round.
It is the wheel that influences people. We had a lot of viewers last season doing this, and I think it was spinning that wheel. You've got to treat the wheel with respect. So, Chicken, please put some emphasis on it and take it away.
Spin that wheel.
One day you will have what we need, and that you started off well. King of the Alps. They previously, I can't remember who they were previously. They're Bahi's team, and I'm struggling to remember who they were before.
Oh, that's a hard question. Maybe one of the viewers can help us out there, but
Oasis, that's it. Thank you very much.
Oasis, yes.
Oasis, yeah. They were a pretty big team, in fact, in Prospect last season, if I do remember correctly. I think they had a struggling season at times, but they made a couple roster moves that really benefited them, and they ended up being quite a scary team towards the end, and I think they also were fairly scary at the start, if I'm correct. So they had a bit of a rough mid-season. They're going to try and make sure that they don't have that again. They're going to try and keep themselves together for the entire season if they can. And with only 8 weeks, it's a lot easier to do that, and there's a lot less time to reform, really. And Squanky Squad are also, if you weren't aware, Sir Classy's team as well. They are going to be in the opposite division. They're going to be amongst the likes of Reflux and Aral Island and Deja Vu, some huge teams they're going to be facing off with, and they've got quite the challenge ahead of them. I believe they're a very drafted team, and they don't have too many great players. One player if you have been around for a while, Soto, is quite a big name, who was very good. I believe he was an altercation, in fact, in Season 3 Prospect, and they made it all the way to 3rd place that season. So don't overlook them. Despite being in Pool 8, they have some big names with them.
Yeah, that's true. And now we have reached the last wheel job. You are on that. It's the top seed. It's going to be the teams to watch.
I'm not looking forward to this because the teams generally are looking pretty even. The people in this pool are fairly scary. Auto Celerity and Built by Us being the 2 teams I'm most frightened of. But Galimo also being quite a frightening roster. But I'm not really as frightened of them. So these two teams are the ones I'm hoping I don't end up in the same division as. I would still predict, however, I predict AC, yeah, Auto Celerity. I think they would be number one in the league in preseason predictions. That is who I'd give the title to. So I definitely don't want to play them.
Yeah, but yeah, I think we're ready, Chop, and you are gonna say it because otherwise it won't sound right.
Let's spin that wheel for the prospect number one pool. Who will it be? Just I don't know if I want me or not. It's some frightening times. Auto Celerity going into the Mu division. These guys being who I would predict currently to be the winning roster at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right there. Auto Celerity coming in that Mu division there, starting of the season as one of the top seeds. And yeah, Doom, you're gonna spin that wheel yet again.
I like that one. That was good. Round of applause for that one.
Round of
Ooh,
applause.
Galamo Esports going in to the Omega division. This team being one of these top teams, and I would be surprised if they don't make playoffs as well. So definitely a frightening team that you wouldn't want in the division. So some teams like Crossfade, who are also one of these big teams, are going to have to be watching out for them.
Yeah. So now, Chop, now it's the time there to ask you, in what division do you want to end up?
I really want to end up in the Omega division because I don't want to be playing Built by Us, and I don't want to be playing. I don't want to play AC as well because those two teams are just so frightening. Definitely top 4 teams. So I'm hoping I end up in the Omega division. I don't want my name to come up here. So for the final time for Prospect, Doom, spin that wheel. Let's hope Karma doesn't come up with me here.
Oh, it's gonna be very close there.
It's Built by Us. Get in. So Built by Us and AC are going to be in the Mu division. I thankfully don't have to play those two teams because those two are frightening, and those two are going to be butting heads a lot and contending for that first and second place, quite possibly. And everybody is going to be frightened of being in that division.
But you got to play me now, Chop. So that's
Oh
something
well,
else.
thank God for that then.
Yeah, you're gonna be really happy with that, I think.
I think I am quite happy with where I've come in this, and there's quite a lot of good teams in both divisions, and I think it's really I think it's quite equal here. R5 being in Omega here are gonna end up playing some big names like Crossfade, for example, and who else is there? The Shadow is also a pretty good roster, I would imagine. Team Berserkers. How do you feel about yourself?
How do I feel? I feel very good about it. So I'm having faith in my own roster there. We worked a lot. We just need to work a bit on rotations, but we will get there. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a good season. We're looking forward to it, and I think the draws are really nice for both sides. And yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna move up right. I think we're taking this small break question mark to the
We are going to, if I'm correct, we're going to be having an interview with Crispy here. Going to be seeing what he's feeling about after watching this and seeing his division draws. Just a quick 5-minute interview just to gather his thoughts. Being on Built by Us, one of these last picked rosters, and going up against teams like Auto Celerity, these big names. We're going to get his final thoughts on this. We're going to drag him in just a second. In the meantime, Chicken.
In the meantime, you have on the screen here, you have the divisions there being drawn. The Mu division consisting of Auto Celerity, Clairvoyant, E-Nightmare, Team Chaos, ASN, Newts, Bad Karma Royals, Built by Us, Finkcho, Eidolon, Puncture, Hit or Miss, The Squids, Crown Gaming, and last but not least, King of the Alps. And then we have the Omega division there with Galamo, Crossfade, Rocket League Ireland, Prophecy, Berserkers, Austrian Force, Reflux, Sonic Wave, R5, Entice, Deja Vu, Shadow, Primal, No Hope, Four Kings GG, and the Swanky Squad.
Very, very cool list. We have so many returning names and rebranded names. If you don't recognize them, there's not many new people, so we have a very good idea of what it's going to be. If you are interested as well in maybe some more in-depth predictions here and maybe some numbers, we are going to have on Saturday the news team's going to be releasing power rankings, so you can see where your place is going to be ending up in these preseason predictions. Get your scrims going as well preseason to help yourself realize where you are and also influence these power rankings. Will partly be based on the scrims as well, so you can see where you're going to end up. We can already tell that some names are going to be in these top numbers as well, like Auto Celerity, Built by Us, R5. I'd put Deja Vu there as well. RL Island looking scary with Dave Forehead not only being the GM but also a player on their roster this season. So many big names here are coming in. But anyway, we're gonna get into Crispy in here for the interview. Hi, Crispy. Watching the stream, just like you should. Crispy is dead.
You're still stunned from the result, I think, there.
I think he is. He's terrified of Auto Celerity and all the other teams he's going to be playing. Like, who else is there? There's Vinctio and Clairvoyant are the two big teams. Hello, Crispy. How are you doing?
On my Discord. Oh, there we go. I was muting myself. Sorry.
How are you doing then? How are you doing with the? Have you been watching the draw then?
Yeah, I've been watching. I was very entertaining. Excellently presented. Obviously.
Oh, how do you feel about the wheel spinning? Who did it better, me or Chicken?
It's a close. I mean, nobody can top Danny Boy, really.
It's very true. Danny is number one.
I'm going to reserve judgment on that one. I think nobody can top the master.
I think you've got a fair point. And so you're in the Mew division. How do you feel about the competition in this division then?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I was when the final spin of the wheel was happening. I was hoping to be put in the green in the Mew division. There were a few teams in there that we've scrimmed already. We sort of know what we're up against a little bit more than we did with the other division. But at the same time, there are certain teams that were in the other division that we think are quite easy teams, like R5. We've missed out on playing, which would have been a pretty easy win.
All right, you know what? I've had it up to here with you, Crispy. Okay.
Okay.
That's it. I'm pulling out Built by Us.
Okay, no, that's abuse of mod powers.
Not a mod, to be fair.
Oh yeah, well, even higher, even worse. But yeah, no, I'm feeling cool. I mean, I think the big obstacle was obviously the other team that was seeded first, Auto Celerity.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't screened them yet, but we hear from all sources that they're a very strong team. So I can't wait to get into those games really.
Yeah, Auto Celerity. If anybody's a captain in the scene in the chat, you might have noticed that they've posted their scrim results. In fact, beating teams like ASN with sweeps, and they have not lost a single game in their scrims. Never mind series up until R5, where it was a 3-2 win for them, I believe. So
maybe I should speak on R5 then.
R5, okay. We're going to smash you in the finals, and that is the prediction.
I can't wait.
Some fighting talk here. Who are you most afraid of Auto Celerity then going into this division?
Yeah, I think so. There's a few other teams that we don't really know what we're up against. I mean, teams like Team Chaos, obviously, and Bad Karma having some late roster switch arounds happening. So we can't really judge that. Obviously, seeding must have been quite difficult for that. I know Rots and Mux, Nuts been hard at work, but yeah, I mean, I think of the teams that we know sort of what we're up against, what we're dealing with, Auto Celerity are definitely the team to beat in this division.
So, would you do you have any rivals this season going into it?
Well, I mean, yourself and your own franchise, obviously.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah. Deja Vu is another rival. We've screened them a couple of times actually, and it's always fun beating Rocks, even though it's not actually him playing. But again, we've avoided them. They're in the other division. Vinctio, similarly with Crusader, it's just fun to beat his team. So I'm looking forward to our games against those. And ASN, obviously, Aces, the mechanical god, and only the mechanical. I'm joking, obviously. But yeah, I mean, we had a couple of actually very, very close, very enjoyable scrims against ASN. So the playing against them in the league should be very, very fun.
So ASN and Vinctio both being in your division, you'll get to play them both in league play. And if you're going to want to play R5 or Deja Vu, you're going to have to make it into playoffs. And if you want to play us, well,
Exactly.
you have to make it to the finals, Crispy.
Of course, because you're obviously going to get there.
Oh, I might have to drag the team down a bit. I'm quite heavy, you know.
I'm sure. No, I mean, you got Bo, who obviously used to play for Built by Us last season, so that's a fun rivalry for my team captain, the Sunderlad, to get his teeth into that.
He did, yeah. I definitely have a bone to pick with you, and I think our team is definitely down to rival Built by Us, and so the playoffs is where it's going to be at, or maybe even the cross division if you can make it to the top spot in your division.
We'll see about that one. It depends whether we play Auto Celerity before then or not.
So, what are your thoughts in where you'll place? Can you make a prediction on where you think you will come in this division?
Well, it's hard to say, really. I mean, I would say obviously Auto Celerity are the I keep going on about this, but they are the top team. I would never be so egotistical. Everyone who knows me knows that I'm a very humble guy, so I would never predict myself the top. I think I'd go for a fair third place finish.
Third place finish is quite modest for how good you've been this preseason.
Yeah, well, I mean,
being in the pool 1.
There's 16 teams in the division. You know,
there are 16. It's going to be a lot tougher. It's third team last season was a clutch for playoffs really, and this season third is comfortable for playoffs being in your division. So it's a lot more difficult, and getting first place is really difficult because only 1 in 16 teams are going to be able to do it this season.
Of course. Yeah.
So thanks for coming, Crispy. It's been a pleasure having you on. It's been a pleasure, and we're gonna have to do that scrim after this as well.
Yeah, straight away. I'm looking forward to it.
See who's coming out on top, and see who's going to win the league, possibly, depending on how Celerity do.
The stream will be we'll carry that after this with the Challenger and Master Draw, so can we come back on and tell everyone see who's going to lose to Auto Celerity in the finals?
Oh yeah, of course. There are some huge teams as well. Not just these pool 1 teams as well, who are definitely contending for that number 1. And I think Bad Karma last season, nobody would have expected them to win, even at the very start of playoffs. Even after their first 2 wins, you couldn't have predicted that they'd win. Teams like Deja Vu being huge teams to take down, and they still managed it. So nobody is out of the question at any point.
Of course.
Right, well, this has been it, and thanks for watching the Prospects one. We're going to move on to Challenger now. We're going to change it a bit. So I've been Chop, and I'm gonna take it over to, I believe, Chicken and Crusader here.
Yes, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Chop, for being here for the first part of the stream. And just as Doom gets the details sorted, we will be starting with the Challenger League draw.
Yeah, as you said, Crusader, after that Prospect League, we're going to move on to a Challenger League there. Same franchises everybody knows, but completely different power rankings as well, because some teams have a good Prospect roster, others have a good Challenger roster. You never know. So yeah, it's going to be just as exciting. And yeah, on this first roster, we have the Bad Karma Esports there, the franchise of Doom, being the reigning Prospect champions there. So they're going to be looking forward to get drawn into a Challenger division there. So just for the viewers, Crusader, the division names are going to be green for?
Yes, the division names for Challenger will be different than the Masters, and it will be Delta and Zeta.
Okay, so for everybody, Delta is going to be green, and Zeta is going to be red. So without further ado, I think we're ready, Doom. We're ready for that one moment where you are gonna spin that wheel. Yeah,
And-
right about there. Bad Karma Esports, the reigning prospect champions, getting drawn there as the first team for the challengers.
Yes, and as you've mentioned them, they are indeed the reigning prospect champions, and the two of them sticking together again, Superman and Kears, if I'm not mistaken. They are sticking together from last season, so it will be interesting how that chemistry turns out in prospect, and to see if they can do as much as they did in prospect last season. But Doom, can we get that wheel spinning, please? And as for our second team, drawn into the Zeta division, it'll be Primal Esports, who were also one of the top teams in Prospect last season, and they do have two players sticking together again. Tether and Animal having been first seed last season before playoffs. They will be playing together again, and as well as with Bad Karma, it will be interesting if their chemistry is still there and to see how they fit into the Challenger League together.
Yeah, well, without further ado, we need to fit in Danny there, and we have someone who wants to try it out as well. We have Viking here who thinks he can do it better. So, Viking.
I absolutely can. Doom, spin that wheel! That's how you do it, Chicken.
Okay, I'll admit this was good, but
Yeah, we're gonna
you can
keep
do
summoning
better. You can
Vikings.
do better, Viking. I think you can do better. And as our third team, we have Crossfade. This is in fact a rebranded franchise, if I'm not mistaken, and it is a Cruzy or Purple. I believe he was Purple up until recently. The team is consisted of Adam and George, who now I might be mistaken, but I believe they are buddies and they have played together before.
Yep, they
So-
were in the Instinct franchise last season, challengers, and yeah, they left that team midway, and now they joined Crossfade. So really curious about what they're gonna do this season. Now we have Prophecy last there, joining the other division, and yeah, I kind of want to ask Viking again, but I'm not sure if he wants to. To get sleeping toddlers around.
I'll mix it up a little bit. I'll mix it up a little bit.
I was gonna mix it up.
Spin that wheel. Don't care. It sounds better than chicken.
And as our first draw of this wheel, it's E Nightmare.
Yeah, E Nightmare there. Yeah. If you ask me, it's gonna be a pretty dangerous team again. Same as the prospects there. Good franchise, and I'm looking forward what they can do. So
Yes, and if in case we forgot to mention, this is not in order of the seeding, so we mix things up a bit, and this is not from worst to best or the other way around. This is in fact a fourth seeded pool, and we will try to announce what seeding it is before, but I do believe Rox has us covered in the Twitch chat as well. So if you want to know about the seedings themselves, Rox is the guy to go to.
yeah, that's true. Fox is saying the seats, but we can also do it if needed. This is a 4. Yeah. After Viking doing a bit of a gayish spin the wheel, even Doom wants to try one. So Doom, are you here?
I do hope so.
Okay, well, Doom, I hope people can hear us all, but go ahead.
So I'm going to spin that wheel!
Okay, I think we have a winner so far. Vikings, sorry, your voice was too cowardly compared to Doom's. And I do believe Viking is upset by Doom beating him, but we have our next team drawn, and it is the Swanky Squad.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about this franchise, to be honest.
I do know it's the franchise of a YouTuber, Sir Classy, and I do know he yanked one of the players I wanted, Fassbender, who is a very high challenger with DSN of 1546 and is an insanely good player all around. So I'm pretty sure this is a strong team, and it will be interesting to see them play. But Doom, can we get another spin on that wheel? The next team is Team Chaos, a stand-in as the team that should have been here. Unfortunately, had to drop out. But the team currently managed by none other than Rox, who I know for a fact is really good at assembling teams. And even though I personally don't know any of the players on the team, they do have high peaks and high DSNs. And with Rox's team building skill, I'm sure he built a pretty damn good team.
Yeah, that's true. And with that, we have R5 there on this wheel. We are not gonna spin it for them because they will get it. Yeah, R5. The franchise of Chop there. Looking forward to a strong season there for them. So
Yes.
yeah, we're gonna be moving on to the next wheel there. It's gonna be let's see, Division Draw 6 with Puncture, ASN, Berserkers, my own franchise, and something I cannot read, but I think it's Finktio, your own
Yes.
franchise. So both of our teams are on this wheel, Crusader.
Yes, they are, and that might mean that we will not be against each other. But Doom, can we get that wheel spinning once more? And I'm being told that my notion to spin the wheel is not good enough. So I'll leave it to Viking and Doom if they're happy with it. But it is my franchise that got
Your franchise got picked.
yes.
So
And
tell us
I
about
will
it.
say, Rox and Mutz. I'm sorry, guys, but you completely missed this pool. Not only because of my franchise, but the others. And we got the community OG Utopia and the best mod. He'll single-handedly carry us to victory. That's it from me, boys.
So Viking, with a knock knock on the door. Viking.
Right, so I'm going to settle this because Doom thinks he's won this one. He has not at all. Doom, spin that wheel! Thanks, Doom.
Viking just got a juicy compliment on that one from our backstage fairy Doom, and it is
Backstage
Vikings. It is Vikings team that just got picked.
Yeah, Vikings team there. So now I have the honor to talk about the team Viking collected there. So yeah, our roster there consisting of Dutch Dark, Naylor, Shinxes, and Helena there. I scrimmed them personally, but I'm a prospect, so maybe not a really good thing to like look at. But they play really well. I got to say, be scared for them.
Viking, do you want to say something about your franchise?
Honestly, it was one of those beautiful moments where the stars aligned and players just landed perfectly together, and it just felt so nice. And we are really confident with these guys. Not to put too much pressure on them, but no, win. Okay, win.
Yes, and this means we will not face each other, which is sad, as I want to beat Viking every chance I get. But it is what it is.
But then you also want to beat me, and that makes me a bit sad.
I mean, you're in Prospect, and it's not your franchise, so it's not the same. But
I feel it's mine as well.
okay, buddy, I want to beat you too. Then is this better?
Yeah. Well, but I think we are gonna have this spinning contest here, so we're gonna ask Doom again.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's spin that wheel!
Okay. The boys are getting
Terrible, absolutely terrible.
The boys are getting hang of it, and I do believe me and Chicken will abstain and leave the calling out to them. And as we get ASN Esports picked next.
Yeah. So yeah, but just a big team there. We're going to face off against you there. So yeah, like you said, a big team. I think you should be careful of them there. And yeah, as we are saying, I think we should get a poll or something up. So chat, please tell us who you think is the best wheel spinner, and we keep track of that. But for now, it's Vikings' turn again.
And this is the pool number 3. Oh no, I'm sorry, we forgot Puncture. Yes, this is the main team I was thinking about when I said Roxen must failed this seeding, because Puncture do have their DSN is not individually the greatest, but Alec Tech and Chivella have played together before a lot, with their highest DSN player Exile as well, and they don't have a language barrier. They all speak the same language, and we've scrimmed them personally, and they are insane and surely underrated by the seeding. So I think this is a team to be on the lookout for, and a very strong playoff contender as well.
Okay, so let me get warmed up here. Doom, can you please spin that wheel?
Well, Viking, I think you need to do better if you want the chat to love you more than Doom. I'm sorry.
The chat will never love you more than Doom. No one ever loves anyone more than Doom. So
that is true. As we have Auto Solarity as our first pick from this group, and this is the 3rd seeded group. So according to our lovely seeders, this is a high-ranking team. They do have Astral, who I know for a fact is a good player, and looking at the roster, it seems like a well-planned team. Yeah, their sub is also a strong player, so I wouldn't count them out even playing with their sub. But we have 3 more teams in this pool, so I will ask Doom to spin that wheel.
Six out of 10.
So yeah, there we have Entice Esports there. Oh yeah, I got to say I didn't really watch them play so far, but from what I've heard, they were a pretty average team.
Yes, I wouldn't say average, and I do think it was for a reason that they are higher up. They do, in fact, come. Entice is a big org even outside of IEL. They do have 12,000 followers on Twitter, and their GM will play in this team. He is a very high player, as well as their second. They are both 1500 GCs, low 1500s. Their third is a bit lower, but I do think they did thorough tryouts. So I think they will be a solid team. And if we forgot to mention, the seedings are done without the sub. So our lovely seeding team did this based only on the main roster, with the exception of some scrim results, past season results, as we've seen with Primal and Bad Karma, who have players coming to them again from last season. In case you were wondering how this is seeded.
Yeah, that's true. The seed groups were made by Tutan and Muds, I think, or Tutan and Rocks.
It was Mutts and Rocks.
No, that, and they just made groups of 4 according to these, and we just randomized the order we're doing the draws in. So not from top to bottom or bottom to top, and it's pretty randomized, just like the spinning of the wheel. And I think we're gonna ask Doom.
I forgot to unmute myself. But it is definitely time to spin that wheel!
You see, Viking, you need to.
I retire. I retire. Okay, I'm done.
No, you're a fan favorite as well, Viking. So we will not let you go. But it is Galamo Esports as our next pick, and I will be honest, I don't know much about this team. Chicken, do you perhaps know anything?
No. To be honest, I like the Prospect League, and I didn't really read into the Challenger League because I was summoned in the last second to do this. So you got me there. But yeah, they were at a pretty high up wheel, so I think we should be careful of that.
They do in fact have a player who peaked almost at 1600, being Ito, and a strong second man. So I think they'll manage for themselves, to be honest. And the last remaining team from this pool is King of the Alps, which is a rebrand from our last season's franchise called Oasis.
Then the biggest question is, can they be King of the League as well?
Yes. Can they be King of Alps and Kings of the League as well?
Yeah. And the chat is going off about Doom here. They really like Doom. They want Doom to be like voice acting. So, but Doom needs to eat, guys. So he cannot do the spinning and the talking. So we got to go back to Viking.
You got to go back to. God, so unappreciative.
Well, you need to make sure. Wait, you need to make sure that people are loving you as well, Viking. I've already bailed out because it's gonna work out, I think. So.
Okay. When you're ready, Doom, can you please spin that wheel?
The wheel has in fact been spun, and this is the pool number 7. So these are, according to Rocks and Mutts, not blaming them, just noting. These are the lower seeded teams, and the first team drawn, actually picked, is Crown Gaming. They will be in the Delta division. And I do know one player on their team. It's GTO. I've played last season with him in Prospect, and he is a very, very good mechanic rotations as well. And as their third player, a really solid backup to the higher ranked 2 guys, and might be a bit better than our seeding team predicted, but we will see.
So yeah, I think it's the turn of Doom again if he's done eating.
I suppose I can fit you in. Shall we spin that wheel?
See, Viking, more energy, please.
I don't want to hear that coming from you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. This
So
is
sorry.
the next pick is Newts. They will be in the Zeta division, and it's another rebrand from last season. This was this was Capster's franchise. I'll be honest, I forgot the name. And this is another franchise that yoinked one of the players I was looking at. I don't have much love for them because of that, but they do have Tinny, who they yoinked, and who is a really solid player. More of a mechanical player and an attacker, but nonetheless very solid. And I'm sure with him and Bubbles on the team, they will be a very offensive and mechanically oriented team. But yes, they are predicted as only the 7th pool of seeds. So we will see. We will see.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna spin again because it won't work very well. I'm just gonna like announce the spinner. I think so. I'm gonna announce Crusader.
Oh no no no!
Yes.
I'll try my best.
Oh, yes.
Come on,
Oh yes, all that crap you gave
Doom.
me.
We want you to spin that wheel.
Give that a 7, I think.
I'll take the 7 from you, Viking. And the next team we have picked is Sonic Wave. This is
Sonic
one of the longer standing franchises in the league. But I do understand why they are so long ranked is because I think 2 or even all 3 of the players were in fact drafted. So it will be hard to build chemistry and get to know each other in such a short time.
Yeah. They consist about Aflan, Vieri, and Bubakush there. And that means that we have Royals there as the last one on this wheel. And they're going to be switching over to the other league. And yeah, they consist mostly of Germans there. We have VU, Sportsock, and Alfie, all from Germany. So that can help with comms. And they are being helped there by their highest DSN player, Hazar from Turkey.
Yes, and by the way, a big shout out to Hazard. He racked in the first donation of this season and earned himself a title of bronze donor in our Discord. Big thanks to you, Hazard, for the donation. But with that, we are down to the second seeded pool, consisting of Eidolon Esports, Shadow Esports, built by us, and Deja Vu. So this is, I see our seeding team thinks very high of their challengers. But Doom, can you please announce the wheel?
Do I have to?
Yes, you do.
Are you sure?
Yes,
I
I
thought
You
I
sure
was
you don't want the
announcing the
practice?
wheel.
Yeah, chicken.
I'm-
You announce the wheel.
No, I'm announcing the wheel spinner, and that's gonna be you.
No, we won't vote chicken. I vote chicken.
Yeah, I
as well.
vote chicken too. So chicken, you're outvoted.
Oh, I'm gonna also do like. Okay, I'm gonna take my time for this. I want to spin the wheel.
You'll get there. You'll get there. And our first pick from this pool is Shadow Esports. This is a team from our very own legend Mutz, who is a prospect, but I'm sure has put a lot of thought in making his team. They are 2 very high players, both having peaked at low GC, with the other 2 being really close together. So I am not completely sure who will sub. And considering that, I think they will be mostly working on their chemistry together and just the rotation side of the game, things like that. But I do see why they are highly ranked, and I do think they will be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I think they're right there, and I think it's Vikings' turn again.
Me again. Oh,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah, the mythical Viking.
Don't sound that excited, please.
You kill my voice. Okay. So, Doom, can you please spin that wheel? Bit of British there behind it.
Deja
And-
vu. Ooh. Yeah.
Yes, Deja Vu getting picked into the Zeta division. Once again, I'll humbly boast Rox's team building skills. He
Got-
himself is the sub in the team, so that's good for them. Just joking, Rox. But yeah, he has done a lot of scrims, and both of the two of the highest ranked players have peaked at almost over 1550. And I'm sure Rox is getting them a lot of scrims and practice together. And once again, I see why they are a highly ranked team.
So I think it's the turn of Doom again.
Okay, Chicken, a little bit more practice for you, I think, then.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, I'll do it. Doom, can you please spin that wheel? Thanks for the compliment, Doom. I appreciate it. And the next pick is built by us. They do seem they do seem in the top in almost every league. I only know one player on their roster. It's Salvahart. I've known him for a long time, and he is a really solid player. Definitely a big plus on that team. As I do see, what is probably the highest peaked challenger here, with Lion having a peak of 1570. So surely a very good player and a very good team overall. And the last pick of this pool is Eidolon Esports. This is a team from Francesco, a long-time GM, who is also a captain on the team, and has put together a team consisting of him, Footy Star, who I've seen in scrims and is a really solid player, and Azazel. All three of them closely ranked around 1500. So I do think they will be playing on chemistry here, and it will be interesting to see them play.
Yeah, with that, we're moving on to the division pool 8. So by the ascent of the main roster, the lowest drafted pool, consisting of Clairvoyant, Hit or Miss, Kings GG, and Austrian Force. So yeah, that's going to be a exciting teams that can be the underdogs, can do some crazy stuff maybe, and I think it's going to be Viking there calling the wheel.
Okay, I got two more maybe because my voice is gonna die. So, damn you, Doom. Okay,
Viking slowly dying.
I'm slowly dying. So, Doom, can you please spin that wheel?
As we have our first pick from the last seeded pool, it's Clairvoyant coming in at the Delta, my bad, at the Delta division.
Yeah, I got to say they have an interesting logo there.
Yes, a very nice logo, but
Yeah, GM.
unfortunately the logo does not win games. But the two of their players, Trasky and Danny, They've teamed up from the start, so that is 2 or 3 weeks already, I believe. Plenty of time to get to know each other, and unfortunately, they are placed at the bottom by our seeding team, but we will see. Maybe an underdog in them.
Yeah,
With
that's
that,
true.
Doom, can you please spin that wheel?
Hit or miss there being drawn. So yeah, hit or miss there, consisting of Sideline, Neon, the Snake, and Fluffalus there. Yeah, really strong roster overall. A lot of mid-range players. So not really sure who's going to be the sub. This might be a changing roster there. So for people playing against them, it's going to be hard to know which 3 of those players are going to be facing off against you. So that makes them really good.
Yes, and I do know that rosters like this are not necessarily always bad. We had one like this last season in Prospect, where it wasn't just a dedicated sub, but more of a who is playing well together recently team. And I do believe we did well, at least in the league play. We got smashed in the playoffs, so I won't talk about that. But the league play itself, we did well. So maybe another underdog, although I do believe less likely. But you never know.
You never know. And then we have Viking. If he has one more.
I have one more. Okay. Right. Doom, can you please spin that wheel? Ow, my throat.
It's good, Viking. We'll
Four
leave you be after
Kings
this.
GG there, getting drawn as the last one of the Division 8. Let's get their roster here for me. If the spreadsheet helps me a bit, 'cause it's not being kind, unfortunately. So yeah, and another team that has like 4 mid-range players. That's the same. They have Jordy, Kieran, Stiver, and Neely. We saw Neely play in the combines. Pretty good player there. Overall solid. He is their lowest rated player, but I'm not sure he's going to be the sub. I haven't seen the other 3 play, so I cannot really talk about them. But yes, very dangerous team there. So yes, you have anything to add about them, Crusader?
We saw Neely and Jordy in the combines. I really don't know much about this team, but as you said, another lower ranked team, barely going over the minimum DSN cap, and it will be tough for them. But yeah, we'll see. And the other
Yeah.
team that is going to be placed in the Zeta division is Austrian Force.
Yeah, the
They-
fake counterpart of Rocket League Ireland there with only Austrians, and 2 fake Austrians also slipped into this team, I see. They
Yes.
they consist of Advukers, Kreiners, Daspake, and Cube XX. So yeah, 3 Austrians and a German facing off into the Zeta division there. Now we're moving on to the last top draw there, Division Pool 1, with the Squids, Reflux, No Hope, and Rocket League Ireland. Yeah, we're waiting for
We
Doom to start it up.
are ready, and Doom, can you please spin that wheel? And as you've mentioned, Austrian Force being the only other team that has a nation's name in their name, but they are not as rigorous in their recruiting as Rocket League Ireland, and they do have some German players on there. But our first pick from the highest seeded pool is Reflux.
Yeah, they consist of Capra, Rubanovsky, the GM of Reflux, Andas, and Exile. If I'm not entirely wrong, we saw Exile in the combines.
I'm not sure as well.
No, I thought I saw him in the combines. I'm not
Could
really
very
sure.
well be, yeah.
And yeah, something that my eyes just falls and I got to say in the prospect they have a guy called Prospect, so
It's a
something
shame. It's a shame they
very
don't have
nicely.
somebody called Challenger here, and the master
No.
and the Masters team. That would be awesome.
No, they don't. They don't. That's very unfortunate there. But yeah, Doom, it is time to listen to me again. I think. I'm gonna spin that wheel.
Okay. This was not as bad as some were. You're getting. The next team we have picked is the Squids. They will be placed in the Zeta division.
The sea
This-
animal.
Yes, they rebranded from Shamrock, as I do believe, just for the memes. The GM is Dalek, and he is a big memer and a weeb. But he does seem to know a bit about making teams, because they have 3 players who peaked in low GC, and of course that does mean a low sub, but their main roster does seem very strong on paper, and I'll go out on a limb here and say maybe the best team.
We're getting predictions in here. Getting
If-
predictions.
If chat has any predictions on who the best team in Challenger is, please let us know. But
I should say that people are saying we have Francesco in the chat saying he preferred to get No Hope now over RLI. So that's his pick, I think.
Okay. Well, we should not let him wait any longer then.
Right, I got one last one in me, and then I'm retiring. So,
do it.
for the last time in Challenger, Doom, can you please spin that wheel?
And with that, Viking's beautiful voice will not be with us anymore.
It's gone. It's completely gone now.
And it's the Irish people there. RL Ireland. And yeah, they actually succeeded in getting only Irish people and not fake Irish people into their rosters.
They did almost. I'll say that they did almost mess it up. They did have one master player who was not in fact from Ireland, but Dave Forehead saw the errors of his way, I'm sure, and replaced him with an Irish player. But their
Yeah.
master team was from the start completely Irish, and is in fact another team with 3 players in having peaked in low GC, and their highest player Trix is has a very high peak of 1568. So another very strong contender.
And our
Yes.
last team is No Hope.
Last but not least, we have No Hope, another player who went away from my franchise. This seems to be a theme in Challenger, but okay, I'm not
We
mad.
believe in you.
I'm not mad. We do have Flamesword, who was in absolute last season, and I don't really know how this guy is not a master. He is insanely good. He has insane mechanics. I'm not so sure about his game sense. I'll be honest. I don't remember, but his mechanics alone are very good. And with him is Battery, our last season runner-up in Prospect, managed to carry Rocks almost to a title. Is a very fast player, and 2 of them will surely lead this team to great stuff.
I got to agree on that. And yeah, that means that we have drawn the entire divisions. So we are getting ready to get the divisions in place on screen here. So we have one last overview for you to see the final draw for Challenger, and everybody knows who they are going to play. And I do think I'm gonna look at Crusader for that. We have an interview now? Question
Yes.
mark.
We
Okay.
do have an interview, but Chop kind of abandoned us, and we are waiting for him. So in the meantime, in case you missed anything, or in case you oddly enough like hearing my voice, I'll just go over the teams in each division once more. In the Delta division, we have Reflux and Rocket League Ireland as the top 2 seeds. We have Shadow and Built by Us following up. Then it's Auto Celerity and Galamo. E-Nightmare and Team Chaos filling in that middle seeded pack. Bad Karma and Crossfade following up. Bench Theo and ASN. And the last 4 spots are Crown Gaming, Sonic Wave, Clairvoyant, and 4 Kings. GG, don't mind the ZZ, that's misspelled. It is 4 Kings GG. And in the Zeta division, we have the Squids and No Hope as the highest ranked teams, following up by Deja Vu and Eidolon. Then we have Entice and King of the Alps trying to become kings of the league. The Swanky Squad and Rocket R5, I bet. Following up by Primal and Prophecy, Berserkers and Puncture, and the last 4 teams are Newts, Royals, Hit or Miss, and Austrian Force. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe the correct graphic is up. Viking just corrected it. We will take a short break for 1 or 2 songs until our lovely new Steam leader comes on and does the interview. So we will see you in a few.
And apologies to 4 Kings. My bad.
Welcome back, everybody. We are about to start the Master Division draw, but just before we do, we have a quick interview with one of the big GMs, Astral. GM of Autocelerity. How are you doing, Astral?
Hello, I'm good. How is everybody?
Well, you've seen 2 of the division draws so far. You're waiting on Master. So, what are your thoughts on Prospect and Challenger so far for you?
Challenger, I'm wondering why we're so high seeded, to be honest, considering our team was a last minute organised on roster lock day, because I got into the evening having just me and Matt Draco, the sub, after Doppler dropped out, as some of you saw. So it was a last minute pick of Quizzy, and then picked up Icy in the draft, which I think turned out all right. But we've yet to play a single scrim together since Sunday, so no idea how we're going to get on. But we'll wait and see. But Prospect, I wasn't really worried about, to be fair, because as I think most people know, the Prospect team's looking really, really strong at the minute. So
Definitely looking strong. One of the best teams in scrims so far, as much as you can believe scrims will tell you about. They've definitely done very well. So, who's the teams you're most worried about in both Challenger and Prospect so far? Then,
well, Prospect, I know you spoke quite a bit about Built by Us, and then your own team R5, because I think that was the toughest scrim that my guys have had in Prospect so far. But as for Challenger, I've got no idea. Looking at on paper, I think Shadow look a decent team. I know Loza and Films on that main roster, and I think they seem a decent side. But pretty much all the teams I was thinking about hopefully drawing or not wanting to draw because of how good they were have not got any of them, and all the guys that I know from playing in a different league have all ended up in the complete opposite division to us in Challenger, so we're not playing any of them.
do you have any predictions for who you think will win in both Prospects and Challenger? Then, who you think will take the title home?
Right now, I'm going to have to stick with what I said. I think I'll go with Shadow for Challenger, and of course, my team for Prospect. No one else is going to take Prospect. My boys have
Ooh.
got it.
A lot of confidence in the Prospect team, then.
Definitely,
about-
I think.
Yeah.
I spent a little time working through, I spent quite a lot of time, to be fair, on the tryouts for Prospect, and those 3, they just seem to stand out, that main 3 roster above everybody else. And I thought, well, let's put them together, because Ocean Man, the captain, actually turned up to my Challenger scrim, and he was fitting in and keeping up with the Challenger players as a Prospect player. And I thought, if he doesn't end up in the Challenger team, which I even considered him for that, then he's got to be in the Prospect roster, because he's looking really good.
Definitely a really strong team in Prospects. I haven't seen your Challenger team before, but I think the teams that have played you in Prospects can definitely vouch for you being a very strong roster. And so you haven't seen the Master Division draw yet. We're about to start that, but so far, what do you think about your Master team then? How confident are you in them?
I think it's pretty solid. I know 2 of the guys on my Master roster pretty well. They've only had 1 scrim so far, I believe, which was against Primal. It didn't go great. They did lose 4-1. But obviously, Farrell's on that team. He's a bit of a carry, and they've got to watch out for him. But I think they haven't really played enough together yet. But the more they play together, they're definitely going to synergize well. So McLovin's been very busy this past week sorting out job stuff. So I think he's going to get more game time now and more scrims in with the team, and hopefully they're going to improve a lot together. So I'm fairly confident. I think at the minute they're probably mid-table, but I think they can push up more practice for sure.
Yeah, I know at least one of your players, McLovin, who was on my team last season, in fact, and made playoffs. So I know he's definitely a great player, and he's the biggest guy on your team. I would say so. He can hopefully help you with the experience side of things. Is there anybody in Master you're currently worried about possibly being drawn into your division?
Well, like I say, I haven't seen loads from the team, so at the minute I have to say Primal, to be honest. Got to keep an eye out for Farrell and see what happens. Maybe Deja Vu as well with K3 and Nugget. Probably a solid team that are pretty balanced. But obviously, there's some teams that are kind of a couple of 1700s all mixed in, and you've got some with the 1900 and 1600 at the other end. So we'll have to see how those games sort of balance out where the rosters are completely different. But we'll wait and see. I really don't know what to expect. I haven't seen enough scrims, so.
So you have a roster of kind of 3 1700s-ish. You have 2 people who are 1700 and 1 person who's not too far off. So would you say that that's the best tactic to go for? Or would you say that those teams like Primal, who had brought a 1900 in and then 2 1600s, would you say that's the best tactic to go for in picking your Master roster for future GMs?
I think it's still up for debate, to be honest, because I think the lower players can obviously quickly improve playing with someone at a much higher rank if they're learning off them and they're playing together a lot. But at the same time, if the teams aren't going to scrim that much, it's better to have 3 players that are more solid middle of the pack, so they all know what they need to do basically. But like Meow for my team now, who's was like 1600 DS and he's managed to climb up to 1700 now. So I've got 3 players that are all sat like 1700 or above. So I'm pretty happy with the way they are at the minute.
Well, would you we have franchise rankings if you remember them from last season, where we rank who's the most successful franchise throughout the season. Can you put a number or maybe where you think you might end up?
It's going to be tough until I scrum with my challenger team, I think. But I reckon we might be able to be sort of around 10th at the minute. We think we're pretty up there with the prospect guys that are looking really good. And I think the master team are fairly solid and improving. And if we get some scrims together with challenger, I think we can definitely push into the top 10.
Top 10 is definitely big. You'd be in the top third of the league, a little less than top third of the league. So yeah, it's definitely one of the best places to be, and that's, I guess, where franchises really need to aim for. So I guess to sum up, you've kind of got a lot of confidence in prospects even winning the league is where you're going for. And then would you say that maybe challenger and master are kind of in that clutching playoffs place, or maybe securing playoffs, or where would you say that?
Yeah, I think
that's where they are.
I'd say that probably about on the edge of playoffs at the minute. I think it's going to be one of those where it's going to be a couple of wins in between. If we were to hit the playoffs right now, let's say, so there's going to be a couple of those weeks where those game 5 series and that one final game is going to make the difference between playoffs and not, I think so.
Well, that's thanks for the insight, because you are definitely one of these best GMs, and so it's nice to get a good idea from one of these top GMs. If you're curious about any other GMs that people know a lot about, Dave Forehead definitely winning the best GM of season 4. So there is an interview with him that Fluffles did in the news team, if you want to check that out on the website as well. Anyway, we are going to be going back to the Master Division draw, and you can I'm going to host back to Crusader and Chicken, I believe. So they're going to be doing that. So, Astral, any last words?
We'll see you in the playoffs, boys.
Back to you, Crusader and Chicken.
And we're back. Thanks for that interview, Chop, there. Really giving some insight there on the thoughts of people in the league. So yes, I think we're ready for the last thing, but certainly not the least thing, Crusader. It's going to be the
Yes.
master draw.
Last but not the least, and thank you, Chop, as Chicken said, thank you for the interview, and thank you, Chewy Louie, for hosting us as well. Rating us with 23 viewers. We appreciate that. But it is in fact time for the last league, last but not the least. It is time for Masters, and once again, this won't be in any particular order. We will be starting with the Master Pool seeded at number 5. And Doom, can you please spin that wheel?
Who are 5 there? Chop's own franchise there, the master team getting drawn first there. Roster consisting of Zamboni, Pear, Jammy, and Vapanui. They got 3 people that peaked at 1707. So that's very interesting.
Yes. very interesting stat right there. 3 people having peaked at 1707, but not the same DSN. And I do know one player from that team. It's Pear. He played in Aztecs in season 3. He was in the elite team, and he was very solid back then, at least for my Champ 1 brain back then. So I can only imagine he improved a lot since then. And
Yeah.
Zamboni played for Bad Karma last season.
But
Uh,
yeah, that's true. But I think Doom, you can give it a little spin there. Spinny the wheel.
And I do apologize. We forgot to mention that the Master League divisions will be named Alpha and Gamma, with the first team R5 Esports being placed in the Alpha division, and the second team Crossfade being placed in the Gamma division.
Yeah, and they are consisting of Cruzy, Luxy, Beans on Bread, and Brucey. So that you can make a little rhyme about that. Luxy, Beans on Bread, and Brucey.
You can, in fact, and I do believe we've seen Beans on Bread in the combines.
Yes.
From what I recall, a very solid player. I don't really know much about the other two. They have peaked at 1730 both.
Yeah, Cruzy
So-
being the GM as well. So he's really wanting to get that master team playing well, I think. But yes, I think Doom, you can have the shout. We're all ready.
Shall we spin that wheel?
Yes, I think Doom is our winner for tonight. Chat, please hype it up for our masterful announcer here.
I wasn't
And-
the worst, at least.
Then we have Entice. That is a master team of GM Louis Hando. And this is a team consisting of all Belgians. So they're like the inferior Dutch people. So I don't think they will do very well.
Oh, some big words flying here from a Dutchman. But unfortunately, I do not know any of the players of that team. They do have 2 very high players having peaked at mid 1700s, and their sub is very low. So I'm guessing they went for a really strong main roster and hoping to get by on the sub games. And our last pick from this pool is Prophecy. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
Stocko.
Prophecy.
Stocko is franchise there. Getting the last pick there on this wheel. Yeah, I think we are gonna Viking. Do you want to try one more time, or is your voice too dead for it?
Pass.
He's passing. Doom. No, you can do it, Doom.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Doom, can you please spin that wheel? We do have the 4th seeded pool right here, with the first pick going to the Alpha division is Shadow Esports.
Yeah, Shadow Esports. There are 3 British guys and a German. Delirious Mac, Moggy, Dutch Maddie, and Dot. Yeah, looking like a pretty strong team. 3 people around 1700 and 1 1600. Probably has a sub there. The franchise of the Living Legend Muds, as some people call him. And yeah, I think they are gonna have a good season there. I'm having some good faith in them.
Yes, and I do know Mogi is in fact really solid as well as their sub, and we saw the Deleterious Mac in the combines, and he did really well. So it'll be interesting to see them. But Doom, it is time again to spin that wheel. Let's see who we get next, and it is Clairvoyant. They will be playing in the Gamma division, and their master team is looking really solid. They have Amazed, who peaked at almost 1800, and he was in and Absolute, the franchise I was in last season. He was a master player, and if I recall, they ended up being they did end up in playoffs, but they were a very solid team all around. And Milne and KC29 also really good players with an OG caster as well, Big Mac as their sub.
Yeah, overall a good team. But yeah, let's move on to the final spin of this wheel here. Swanky Squad and Hit or Miss. Doom, can you spin the wheel?
And it
Gonna be
will be Hit or Miss as our third pick from this pool. They do have one of the highest ranked players in Master. It's Slender Moss with a peak of 1900. That does mean that they had to get 3 1500s, and it'll be interesting to see how they'll fit together. But on paper, a very strong team. And last but not least, it was the Swanky Squad from this pool, who once again are YouTubers team. And I will be honest with you, I don't know much about them, so we will have to move on. The next pool is the sixth seeded pool, consisting of Puncture, Squids, Galamo, and Auto Celerity. So Doom, could you please spin that wheel?
and it's gonna end there on Auto Celerity. There, Auto Celerity being a new team. General manager is me, Astral. We just spoke to him. Thanks for that job again. A team consisting of 4 British people: McLovin, KGCRLN or something like that, Meow, and Rope. So yeah, overall a good roster there. Peaked around 1700, and yeah, as we just said, I think they are going to have a very good run. And yeah, I think without further ado, let's spin yet again, Doom.
Let's see who the next team is from this pool, and it will be Galamo
Galamo.
Esports.
Galamo Esports there, also looking like a force to be reckoned with there. They have a highest peak around 1700, but the rest of their team is also very close to that. So they have 4 players around the same level, and that might even help there to get it a good chemistry there for them. So I'm really looking forward to them, even if they are not being the highest as of on paper.
Yes, maybe they will have good chemistry, but it is time for Doom to spin that wheel.
Will it be Puncture or the Squids? Gonna be Puncture there.
And it will be the Puncture, as you've mentioned. I do know one player from there, Anthony, very good player all around and has been consistent throughout the seasons. I don't know much about the others, I'll be fair.
Yeah, they have one really high. They have one really high player, almost 1900. So
Yes.
peaked, and DSN of 1884. So he is a force to be reckoned with, I think, as
Yes.
on his own, and he is being accompanied by the 3 others that you just talked about. So yeah, Louis did a good job there on his master team. So, and then we have the Squids, the meme boys, as we're gonna call them, I think.
Yes,
That's
they
the last
do
one.
deserve the title, and they do have their GM Dalek playing on there with Isaac, who was in the combines and is also a very high player, having peaked at almost 1900. They were all placed at the 6th seed, so we will see. We will see. But with that, the pool seeded number 3 is here with Royals, Reflux, RLI, and Crown Gaming. So, Doom, can you please spin the wheel? And the first pick from this pool is Rocket League Ireland, who will be placed in the Alpha Division. And they are a solid all-around team with Jaffa, who was last season's runner-up in Masters with this same team. And I'm sorry,
They were the winners.
Actually the winners. Yeah, my bad. Don't get mad, guys. And I do
Jaffa
know
being the reigning
Spectre. Yes, and Spectre, who was also a challenger in Absolute last season, but is a very good player all around, and I think they will be a good team. But to move on, Doom, can you please give us another spin on that wheel?
Crown Gaming. A very nice team. There are Chewy Louie, who just hosted us as the GM here. This team, consisting of Frosty, Steffi, Mezzo, and Clover. I do think they have some good chemistry. I have seen them play once, and it looked really solid. So
Yes, and
they are a very strong chemistry-wise team.
yes, and Frosty and Mezzo did actually play together last season in Absolute, so I'm sure some of that chemistry carried on and is a part of why they wanted to play together. But for the last spin of this pool, Doom, once again, spin this wheel. It is also the spin that marks half of the way to the master spins, and it is Reflux getting picked to the Alpha Division. Reflux having two players stick around from last season. They were the runner-ups. My bad. It is Cyrex, who is a 1900 peak player, and Matty Moo, who are staying together. Matty Moo will be their sub, and they managed to snatch up two good mid 1600 players. I've heard good things about both Ollie and Einer. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But yes, it does look like a very good team on paper, and with them, Royals have been picked for the Gamma Division, and they do have our wonderful designer Shady. They also have two players, Shady and Fluzzrex, who peaked and have at the same MMR and have the same DSN with two other lower ranked players. So it will be interesting to see how they figure out their team.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, with that, we're moving on to the next wheel there, wheel 7. They have Berserkers on them, No Hope, Austrian Force, and Finktio. So again, Crusader, yet again, we're on the same wheel.
Yes, yet again we are, and I'll be honest. I'm kind of mad at our seeding team once again. But Doom, please spin the wheel. I am just kidding. I'm not really mad. I'm not really mad at anyone. But as our first pick, we do have
Austrian Force.
yes.
That's their only roster that's consisting full of Austrian people. So if one of the roster is going to be an Austrian Force, it's going to be this one. So we're looking forward to them. They look really solid, and I think they are going to have a very good run this season. But without further ado, Doom, can you spin the wheel?
Okay, this was a bit better, adding a little flair to it. I like it. And the next team we have is Team Berserkers.
I need to flare it a bit if we're gonna get my team on the screen here. Well, yeah. Berserkers Masters. Well, I'm not sure. Viking, are you here?
I am here, yes.
Maybe you should tell about how your master team came together.
Not gonna lie, it didn't go completely smoothly. We did have a different plan entirely at the start, but then a few DSN tweaks did have to rethink a few plans, put that way. So, but I'm very happy with the 4 lads we got. We got Acrotic, Marius, Shepsy, and my brain is stalling right now. Juicy, of course, yes. Juicy, the player, I thought I was very surprised to see him in the FA list. Surprised that no one picked him up before that. So very happy with our 4. Very happy indeed.
And with that, we have only 2 teams left in this pool. So Doom, spin that wheel. It is between Vinctio and No Hope. And it is my team. Now,
Again.
I'll be honest, I kind of understand where they came from for this seed, but Lemon, Cindy, and Casual Dutchie are good buddies and have played before a lot, especially Lemon and Cindy. And even though Dutchie will be a sub, they managed to get a solid player, a mid 1700 beat. I'm guessing it's pronounced dogs. But yeah, I trust Cindy very much, and he made the team from scratch. I mean, he was in charge of it, and I think he did a good job. So I'll be happy to see them prove this seeding wrong. And as our last pick, it is No Hope, which is getting placed into the Gamma division. They also had a few issues with DSN, unfortunately, but one of their players coming from Challenger, Jackson, and an OG here in IL, Gamey, will be playing together. And it does seem like an interesting roster, so we will see. We'll see what they can do. It is time to move on, though, and we have the second seeded pool, which is Team Chaos, Eidolon, Newts, and Built by Us. So Doom, will you do me the pleasure and spin that wheel?
It's going to be built by us master team there, being consisting of 3 people, 3 guys from the Netherlands: Fant, Babel Unicorn, Jeff, and NVN. And they are being held by Caden there. Caden being a lot on stream last season, doing a good job there. The other guys, I don't know, but I have a feeling they're going to have a good season there.
I do think this is our highest ranked player in our league, Vent or Ventilator, with a peak of 1900. I'm sorry, of 1969. So of course they had to get 3 very low masters alongside him, but it'll be interesting to see what he can do.
So
And
without Doom, go ahead. It's your call.
Oh, so I guess we better spin that wheel.
it's the 3 teams left in this pool, and it will be Newts Esports getting picked for the Gamma division. And unfortunately, this is another team that I don't know much about, but they have 2 1700s and 2 1600s. So another team that will be interesting to see, as they are, of course, seeded second. And with 2 teams left, one last spin in this pool. Doom, spin the wheel.
Just as a note, I'll be taking over for Chicken for just a few minutes while he has to step out.
And this pick comes down to Team Chaos, which will be placed in Alpha Division.
Team Chaos here were the, of course, our temporary franchise who Rox did an incredible job to put together a team in a very, very short time, I think, after some very unfortunate circumstances in the back end.
Yeah, it was really a good job. He put the team together in like 2 days, and one of the players is our winner from last season, Lovely Cans, playing with High Tide, who unfortunately missed his chance in the combines, but they do look like a solid all-round team with their highest player, Burko, having peaked at 1858, which is quite impressive.
Okay,
And-
who's our fourth here? Eidolon is our fourth spot here for the second seed in Gamma Division. So what do we know about them, Crusader?
I know Stocky. Stocky is a really nutty guy, and I do see they have 3 1700s, so they're really going for that high ranked player chemistry. Their sub is a bit lower, and
So they're
they
they're,
are-
they're they're relying on their full
Yes.
roster being
yes,
healthy for the whole season. Okay.
exactly.
So we're going to move on now, I think, to the bottom seeded teams in the Masters. So,
Yes, it is the 8th seeded pool.
yep. So if Doom is ready, let's spin that wheel. And it is going to be ASN. So ASN are the first of our bottom ranked teams here.
Yes, and they do have one challenger playing upper league, so they will surely be relying on the other three players. And I'm forgetting how to talk. Their highest ranked player, Ready, I guess,
Reedy.
is Reedy, having peaked at 1800 and will surely be looking to carry the team to their victories.
Yeah, you see both sides of the strategies here. You either have the one superstar and 3 average, or 3 pretty high ups and 1 sort of tag on at the end with the DSN. So it'd be interesting to see which way plays out better.
Yes, and with that, another spin on the wheel, please, Mr. Doom.
Mr. Doom.
And
Sonic
This-
Wave.
comes down to Sonic Wave, which will be placed in the Gamma Division. I'll be honest, I don't know much about them. We do see 2 lower DSN players, and only 1 somewhat high player. So maybe going for some chemistry between players of a similar rank here, and I do kind of see why they are seated so low.
Okay. So I think we'll go from Mr. Doom to Big Papa Doom. Please spin that wheel. It's going to be King of the Alps, filling out the bottom of the Alpha division here.
Yes, and filling out the bottom of the Gamma Division, the last from this pool is E Nightmare, another team which I have little knowledge of, but looking at the roster all around, it does seem like a really low-ranked team. So maybe it's just friends, premates that want to play together or something. But yeah, unfortunately, see that last. And with that, we only have 1 wheel left.
Hang on, who was our fourth in the?
See Nightmare, I
Gamma.
just told you about him.
Did
You
you?
even listened to me.
I blanked out. Entirely.
Terrible, terrible. But we are down to our last pool and the last wheel. The highest seeds of Masters between Deja Vu, Primal, Four Kings, and Bad Karma.
Yep. So Doom obviously is watching this one very carefully. He's got his bad car up there once again. So go on, Doom. Give it a spin. Let's go.
That was the lamest one of the night, I think.
No, it wasn't. Yours are far worse. Let's go.
No.
Primal, our first pick for Alpha Division top seed, and Tether's franchise, I believe.
Yes.
And yes, I mean that's a good name to have behind them, about 100%. But what do we know about the team?
We know that rumors have been going around in our general chat that the Feral is unable to rotate and this is a quote. I'm not saying that myself. I do for a fact know he's a really good player, very strong mechanically, and has picked at 1872. And I do for a fact know that Liney and Solar, who are from in this roster as well, are teammates outside of IEL for a few months now. So their chemistry together will surely be a good help. And if the rumors are true, give the team a very much needed rotation and game sense.
Of course, it all comes down to whether they can understand Solar's accent in chat.
There is a rumor.
Sorry, Solar. Sorry, Solar. I couldn't
There is
resist the
another
shot.
rumor that they are they are really taking the piss out of Solar. I hope the man can get through it and carry them to a playoff spot.
Okay,
But
our penultimate spin. So, Dune, let it rip.
okay, I'll do the last one because Viking. This is just
No, it's perfectly
just
fine.
sad.
I
No,
promise
it's
you.
sad. And it's 4 Kings GG going to the Gamma division.
Yeah, so 4 Kings GG, their master team is at the opposite end of the scale to their prospect and challenger teams. They actually get top billing in this one. So, what can we tell them about this team?
We can tell that they are another team that has a really high player and 3 lower ones, with Razor being 1863. Fruits was trying out for my masters, I know that, and they were quite happy with him. So a good player, surely. I don't know much about the other two, to be fair. But we do have our last spin of the night. So Doom, for the last time tonight, please spin that wheel.
It's a 5 best. Right.
I won't take it. Don't believe you. And it's Deja Vu for our second to last spot. And Rox once again putting his team up high. There is 2 very closely ranked players, Nugget and K3. I do know K3 played before in IL, but for the life of me, I cannot remember where. I'm sorry. And Serve was, I remember him from season 3 because he played against us and managed to ruin all 3 of us alone in one play. Very good mechanical player. And their submit is a Snake who left us in season 3 for this franchise. Mid, I'm not sorry, and I still haven't forgiven you. But all jokes aside, he is a very solid sub, and I do understand why this is a first seeded team.
And rounding out our top seed, of course, is Bad Karma, which is nice for everyone over in Gamma Division. It gives them a nice, easy win for everyone, I think.
I've unmuted myself just to laugh at you.
Yeah. Sorry, it was just a cheap shot of Doom there for mocking my
Yeah.
speaking skills earlier. So that does wrap up all of our master placements here. So shortly we'll have it up on screen for everyone to see the full rundown of all our teams. So in the meantime, Crusader, could you please give us a quick rundown of the ones you can?
I can in a second, but until then, Doom, since it was the case that your team ended up getting picked last, what can you tell us about your master team?
Doom?
It's all right. I'm here, honest. I'd remuted myself because I was being nice and polite. Right. What can I tell you about my Masters team? Masters team, I've carried over 2 players, Jay Wetz and Knox from last season. Both Dutch guys and both absolutely outstanding. I believe at last call I saw Jay Wetz sitting at about 1970 MMR and Knox just shy of 1900. Alongside them, I brought up a challenger, my son Tyler. He played for Sonic Wave last season in the challengers. I moved him up, so he's basically 1550. And Norre, I saw him in the combines, and he fit the DSN I needed, and he looked outstanding for his DSN. He looked a real good pickup, to be fair. But
Are you sure that's how it's pronounced? Are you sure?
Well, I'm saying Nure, if he wants to correct me, he can, and I will bow down to him completely. But yeah, I mean, the two top guys also play for another esports organ and other competitions, etc. And were in the RLRS play-ins last week. They got knocked out last week, so didn't do too bad, to be fair. But also they've been playing a lot of competitive and came up against the likes of Alot, Greasy Meister, and Cooks here, etc. and beat them all. I have the screenshots to prove it.
Okay, we believe you. And I think to finish off this today, we have Mutz coming in, the famous Mutjug.
Hello. I just came here to make a little announcement. Because of the last few days, it has been really busy, and for this special occasion, and to say the least, with the last few weeks, we have decided that Rox is not fitting as vice manager of the game admin team anymore, so he won't be game admin team vice manager for the near future. That being said, with his outstanding help, he will be promoted to the full manager of the IEL game admin team.
Oh, very nice. Congratulations to Rox. And I do expect chat to be happy about it, as well as being happy about having the IEL legend Mutz on here. And I do want to see some hearts in the chat.
Okay, guys, have a good evening. I'm off. See ya.
Goodbye, Mutz. We love you.
And with that, that rounds up our full roster. You can see now the full master sheet. So just a quick rundown. Alpha Division is Primal, Deja Vu, Built by Us, Team Chaos, RLI, Reflux, Shadow, Hit or Miss. And then on the bottom half, we have R5, Entice, Auto Celerity, Puncture, Austrian Force, Vinctio, ASN, and King of the Alps. On the Gamma Division side, Four Kings, Bad Karma take the first two spots. They are followed by Newts, Eidolon, Crown Gaming, Royals, Clairvoyant, the Swanky Squad, Crossfade, Prophecy, Galamo, the Squids, my own Berserkers, No Hope, Sonic Wave, and Eat Nightmare bringing out the bottom of the division. So it looks to be a fantastic season up ahead.
Yes, it does look like a fantastic season up ahead. And I'd like to thank all of you being here tonight watching us. Thank you for your patience. I hope we did well in screaming out spin the wheel every few seconds. We love you all and appreciate you all. And we will be signing off for tonight. We will not be stopping the stream as we're going to raid none other than Lawler, who is doing a week 1 RLCS discussion. So if you stick around, get in the chat, give the man the support. He is an awesome caster, awesome community figure. And with that, good night from me.
Good night from me and Chicken, who had to unfortunately leave. It's good night from Doom, who I'm
Good night.
talking for. Oh, he's going to talk anyway. All right, fantastic. And everyone, best of luck in the season ahead. And we'll see you all again soon for the first stream of the new season.
You'll believe it's done. Yes. Okay.
Oh, got it.